back.
All our guys are back together. He's the guy.
Arms to the rim. Punched into the Andre Ayton. Was inside for the slam.
They can't be the more desperate team.
Oh, he banks it in. It's good.
Clippers are the hardest working team on the court tonight. We just play hard. It's win or go home, in my opinion, right now. I'm just leave it on the floor.
And we are back. Get Up here on ESPN. We will have Jalen Rose coming up in just a matter of moments. But the big fella, Big Perk, is live with us here, coming off of a very interesting Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals last night in Los Angeles. Big Perk, that's where you are today. And I will just ask you the question directly. The Clips dug out of a 2-0 hole in round 1 and round 2. They have to do it this time without Kawhi Leonard. Are they about to do it to Phoenix?
No, Greeny, I don't believe so. And look, I have all the trust in the world in Ty Lue, but at the end of the day, guess what? He has another great coaching staff on the other side of him. Devin Booker has been in a slump right now. He's not going to continue to shoot the ball this poorly. This was CP3 first time back on the court, not being able to get practice time. I feel like the Phoenix Suns did what they were supposed to do. They won their 2 at home. Okay, the Clippers came out fired up. They won 1 at home. But I feel like this series is in the Suns' favor. It's in their hands. They're going to play better. They're going to get better productions from their guard play and their dynamic backcourt. So as much as I love Ty Lue and his adjustments, I feel like I still got the Clippers in 6, and they're going to win in 6. The Suns. The Suns in 6. Excuse me, Greeny.
The Phoenix Suns would be headed back to the NBA Finals for the first time in a long time. So we'll have more on that series as we go. Again, Game 4 will be tomorrow night on ESPN. But we talked earlier about the Scottie Pippen interview in GQ. We talked about his comments about Kevin Durant. There were some others that were very interesting, and they involved Ben Simmons. Now, the news of yesterday, 76ers management has begun discussions this week with Simmons' agent Rich Paul regarding his future with the team. All this reporting from Woj yesterday. Paul engaging Philly on whether it makes sense to find a trade before the start of next season. Scottie Pippen, speaking in GQ, said, "You all know he can't shoot. You all know he doesn't look to shoot in the fourth quarter. You know he's afraid to go to the foul line, doesn't want to be humiliated. I'm not against Ben Simmons, but I think he is who he is. I watch a lot of games that Doc shouldn't have had him in the fourth quarter. This kid has been this way the whole time, and Doc brought him in and set him up for failure." So, Big Perk, there's a lot there to unpack. Let's start with that last line. Is there room for criticism of the way Doc Rivers handled Ben Simmons in that series?
See, look, Scotty is really starting to get on my damn nerves, okay? Because at the end of the day, we're talking about a guy. Ben Simmons did make the All-Star team this year. Mm-hmm. Ben Simmons is making $30+ million. Ben Simmons did lead the league in assisted three-point shots. Ben Simmons does do other things on the court, not just scoring the basketball. He could have won Defensive Player of the Year. Like, how in the hell can you sit a guy like Ben Simmons, who's you're robbing on your team to Joel Embiid? It makes zero sense. You have to just roll with it. If he don't come through in the clutch, you can't sit him down. You know what happens if Doc Rivers would have set Ben Simmons down and they still would have lost this series? Doc Rivers would have been on the golf course and looking for another job. You just can't do that to your franchise guy. I just don't understand what's going on in Scotty's mind right now, because it's not there. And in the words of Stephen A. Smith, Greeny, stay off the weed. Stay off of it. Lord have mercy.
Okay, I'm really glad that just happened. In the meantime, it does then bring us to the next question, because Woj in the reporting that I just mentioned, that Ben Simmons' representatives, Rich Paul, you know him obviously, have gone to the Sixers and said, we should start talking about the possibility of him getting out of there. Do you believe, Big Perk, that for his career to get where he needs it to get, wants it to get, that Ben Simmons needs to get out of Philadelphia?
I do, Greeny. And look, I tried to wait it out. I thought Doc Rivers was going to be able to fix him and Joel Embiid and make it work. But the fact is, they don't complement each other well, and that's okay. But you still have a guy that's under the age of 25, a superior athlete, a guy that knows how to dish and pass the ball. He just lost his confidence, Greeny, towards the end of the season. Like I told everyone, go back and look at the games he played when Joel Embiid wasn't on the floor. He dominated. Matter of fact, he had a 40-piece wing dinner against the Defensive Player of the Year in Utah, Rudy Gobert. He dominated him. So a change of scenery and some more work in the offseason, getting up, stop living in the lifestyle of the NBA, lock yourself in the gym. Ben Simmons will be perfectly fine. Now, is he going to come back shooting the ball like a Duncan Robinson or a Kyle Korver? Hell no. But he could come back and be the best Ben Simmons that we've grown to love over the last 4 years.
I want to bring Jalen into the conversation. We've got it here again. TV in 2021. We're having technical issues. We got him. The great Jalen Rose is with us live from L.A. as well. And so, Jay, let me ask a similar question to you there. We'll work our way backwards through some of these topics here as we've got you with us. Do you believe, because I haven't had a chance to talk to you this week, do you believe Ben Simmons needs to be somewhere else next season in order to unlock whatever it is that seems to be his problem?
Yes, Greeny, I believe so. Good morning, gentlemen, and here's why. We talked about that when we first began this show, Greeny, and I remember sitting alongside of you coming on television and saying, Joel Embiid, all NBA talent, MVP caliber player, Ben Simmons, all-star caliber player, but they occupy the same real estate on the floor when they're at their best. Joel Embiid can make threes, but you want him operating 15 to 18 feet away in the operating zone, but more importantly, you want him playing in the post. If Ben Simmons is your primary ball handler and he's not going to attempt shots outside of the paint, guess what? He operates in the paint. They both occupy the same space. They're the only team in the NBA where both of their two best players aren't knockdown three-point shooters, don't take a lot of attempts. So therefore, Ben Simmons can go somewhere else and be an effective player, but the fans of Philadelphia will not let him live down not taking shots 4 times in the fourth quarter. Going 0 for 0, that is something psychologically they would not allow him to get over. And lastly, I said this when he got drafted. When he goes to the free throw line, he shoots with his left hand. When he drives to the bucket, he finishes with his right hand. It may be too late to change what hand he shoots with, but obviously he's shooting with the incorrect hand as well.
That is the point I wanted to mention here, Jalen. I give you all the credit in the world. My friend Rose Stradamus, 3 years ago when we started the show, you said Ben Simmons is shooting with the wrong hand. And I'll be honest with you, my friend, I thought you were nuts. But now all of a sudden I'm hearing them say we need to change the hand that he's shooting with. Can they do that? He's 24 years old. He's played basketball probably 1 million minutes. Can he make that change, Jalen, at this stage of his career?
He can make that change, but I don't think he will make that change. A big guy, Tristan Thompson, made that change, but he's not going to be a volume shooter outside of the paint. Here's what is happening for Ben Simmons, and it's okay. He just put himself in position. Instead of being the first or second best player on a contending team, he'll probably be the third or fourth best player on a contending team. He'll still get the same money, and he'll still have a long career. That's what happened this season. He just got re-slotted as a veteran contributor.
Okay, for a guy who's got $147 million still on his contract, that's going to be a big number for someone to deal with. Meantime, while I have both of you here, let me get back to the other thing that Scottie said that got everybody all upset. So Scottie Pippen, in this interview in GQ, was asked about KD's performance in the previous round against Milwaukee and said, well, KD can score better than LeBron, probably always have been able to, but has he surpassed LeBron? No. He tried to beat the Milwaukee Bucks instead of utilizing his team. He went on to say LeBron would have figured out how to beat them, and he wouldn't have been exhausted, and he may not have taken the last shot. But LeBron ain't KD, and KD ain't LeBron. KD is a shooter, a scorer, but he doesn't have what LeBron has. So Kevin Durant, who's never one to take something lying down, responded twice. First, he tweeted, didn't the great Scottie Pippen refuse to go in the game for the last-second shot because he was in his feelings as coach drew up the play for a better shooter? The answer to that is yes. And then he tweeted, this guy Scott also wanted to enjoy his summer, so he chose to rehab during the season. LOL, yo, Scottie Pippen, they followed Phil, not you. So It's a little bit unseemly. We got a little bit of beef between the two legends. But Jalen, the really important question is Scottie Pippen right? Is there room for criticism of the way Kevin Durant tried to win that series against Milwaukee?
No way. The only criticism you can have for Kevin Durant is that he didn't lift that team basically by himself to the next round. He was an outstanding performer in that series, and he dazzled us. And regardless of who wins the championship this year, Kevin Durant for this year's playoffs will be the people's champ because he reestablished himself as the unstoppable force as an offensive weapon in the NBA. But for Scottie Pippen, to be honest with you guys, as somebody that grew up watching Scottie, I've always felt bad at his portrayal. Anytime he was called Robin, that was always a diss. He's one of the most disrespected great players in the history of the NBA. And it culminated himself to me when The Last Dance came out and a new era of fans got a chance to see that he was a great player, but he doesn't get the respect, the all-time respect that he deserves.
That's right. He has a book coming out this fall in which he's going to address all that, and we'll see what it is he says. But Big Perk, let me come to you on the previous thing that Jalen says, which is, did KD, your former teammate, did he actually earn more respect in defeat with the way he played in this postseason than anything he's done since he was in Oklahoma City?
You know what, Greeny, is close because I remember when KD won the MVP, when Russell Westbrook was out, we saw Kevin Durant move to the point forward. And see, what happened is that when he joined the Warriors, we wasn't able to see Kevin Durant dominate the ball. And when he got on this super team with James Harden and Kyrie Irving, we wasn't able to see the best out of Kevin Durant because he had to share the ball. But when James Harden and Kyrie Irving went out, then we were able to see what Kevin Durant could bring to the table. We saw his ability to facilitate for others. We saw how he was able to get down there and rebound in the trenches. We saw how he was able to anchor the defense. So, again, I saw him in Oklahoma City when he won the MVP, but I will say this. This series, although he lost, he erased 8 years of narratives about himself. I was proud of the way that Kevin Durant handled this series against the Milwaukee Bucks.
I agree with that. In the meantime, Jalen and Big Perk, you're both in L.A. You both think you're doing so well. You're having such a good time. No one's living their best life. Well, guess what? I want you to see what Magic Johnson is doing right now. This is Magic Johnson lifting weights on a yacht in Greece. Jalen, your reaction.
So Chris Rock once said it. Big Perk and I are rich, but the person that writes our check is wealthy. That's what a billionaire looks like, really. Like, Magic Johnson is the only person I know that takes vacations for weeks. Like, do you know how much that yacht costs? I guarantee you that yacht costs $5 million a day. A day. And he's going to be on there like 30 straight days. I love Magic so very much.
He's on there with Samuel. Go ahead, Perk.
You know what, Green and J. Rose? I'm just jealous because I saw this last year and I watched him go on this 3-month vacation where he traveled the seas and stopped at different destinations. You know what I said? This is motivation for me. I got to get myself together.
Not only that, do you bring weightlifting gloves on a vacation? I don't know. I mean, it's a fascinating thing that he's got working there. If I'm ever fortunate enough to be on that yacht in Greece, I'm telling you right now, I'm leaving the weightlifting gloves at home. Meantime, Jalen, Hembo's ready for you. Here we go, Jalen. This is the trivia question. The Clippers, as a franchise, won their first ever game in a conference final last night. Which of these three has never won a single game in the conference finals? The Grizzlies, the Timberwolves, or the Nuggets?
I love you, Himbo. And the answer to this question is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
That is incorrect. It's the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies got to this round once, but they were swept by the Spurs. That was back in 2013. That is a win.
And I was there eating a lot of Gus's fried chicken. That's the Kangaroo Jalen days.
You should have had that one right. Jalen, enjoy it. You're the best. Jalen and Big Perk live in L.A. Game 4 tomorrow night of the West is here.